Hey, this is kind of a quick follow-up from my last tutorial, and I just wanted to finish off the Virtualbox Headless because I feel like I left out a few important details that would help you out along the way. So let's go ahead and just finalize the installation for our virtual machine Ubuntu server. So I'll just name this Ubuntu VM1, and we'll continue. The name, I'm just going to keep the same name. I'll just keep that, and I'll put VM at the end so that I know where I'm working. And then a password. Encrypt directory, no. Time going, yeah, that's fine. Going to use it without the logical volume management, so just the straight up use entire disk. And 40 gig, that's fine. Change, yep. So we'll let that run in its own window here. And if we just go back to our server, let me bring up a few of these commands that I typed out that are kind of important. So if we wanted to list out all of the virtual machines that we have, we can do list VMs. And here we have our guest VM1, my guest 2, and then another one which is inaccessible for whatever reason at the moment. But this is the one that we just installed and is currently installing Ubuntu server. But we can also list the running VM. So if we do running before that, the only one that's running is currently this guest VM1. Now if we wanted to see the information on that, we could do VBoxManage, and we've used this a little bit already, show VM info, and I need to specify a name. Let me do that again with the details switch at the end. And now we can scroll up and see, starting from the top, the name, we have Ubuntu 64-bit. All of the information about where the files and logs and stuff are located. Just as with our graphical user, we can do the snapshots. So we have our SATA controller and all of the various settings that pertain to the server, including the IP address. This is for my client here. So we can see that there is currently a remote desktop client connected, and the name of that computer, the IP address of it, and all information about this connection here. So I don't have a proxy, that's fine. And so you can refer to this if you want to make some changes or see what settings are currently set on the machine. In order to make these changes and have them take effect, you're going to need to power off the machine and then power it back on. And I'll go over that in a minute, but I don't want to power it off, obviously, while it's still installing. So that's the power off. And then here is an alternate and probably a better way to go about backgrounding the process rather than using the screen method that I detailed before. Although it doesn't hurt to use screen, it's kind of a hack way of doing it. So I'm not going to put automatic updates. I want OpenSSH and LAMP, so that's fine. I'll go ahead and continue. again, VBox manage control VM. Let's just see what other things we have. We can pause, resume, reset, power off, save state, ACPI power button. This is the one that we're going to want to use most of the time to power off our machine. But if it does lock up, we can use the power off to force it. Or in the worst case scenario, if you really need to kill the process, you can do sudo top. And let's go ahead and just put in your password. And we can see a list of all of the processes that are running on our machine at the current point in time. And up at the top here you can see VBox Headless, and this is a process ID run by the user Brandon. So 2574, if we wanted to go ahead and kill that, I could type the letter K, and now it's asking the process number that we want to kill. If I put in 2574 and hit enter, it would immediately just end this process. Obviously I don't want to do that, so I'm going to hit escape. I'm just going to hit Control C to cancel out of that. So this is kind of the equivalent in Windows if we were to go ahead and hit Control Alt Delete and force close some kind of a process that was hanging up. And hopefully this is almost done. Okay, so we can exit the installation and allow it to reboot. Now here's a problem that you might run into. It's going to keep looping and trying to reinstall itself. And what we want to do, the reason for that is because it's finding that installation CD first and trying to boot off of that. So we need to detach that from our virtual machine. So to do that, let's go ahead and close our virtual machine. And we'll resume our screen. And we're going to go ahead and do VBoxManage. And we'll just go ahead and use this command right here. And notice you can copy and paste. You have to copy it and now just right click and it should pop up. And if we hit enter, now we can just double check, are there any currently running virtual machines? Guest 1 VM is still running. Let me close out of that, and let's go ahead and just type control guest VM, and let's do a power off. Okay, so it makes it inactive and now it's closed. So we can double check this using VBoxManage list running VMs. And now we can go ahead and remove that drive, that disk from the drive. And the way we do that is, oh boy, if I can open back up this, there we go. We want to do, let's exit out of that. Let's do VBoxManage, modify our virtual machine named guest VM1. And we attached it right here. I'm sorry, in this one here. So what we want to do is type, we want to go back and do VBoxManage storage attach guest VM1 storage CTL SATA controller port 1 device 0 type DVD drive, and then our medium is going to be, I believe, drive empty. I need to double check on, let me see, if we do VBoxManage storage attach and get some information here. Medium empty drive. So this is what we want. So let me just hit up twice and I can go back. It is medium empty drive. Okay. So now let's go ahead and use our new and improved command here. We want to background this process. So we're going to start our VBox Headless start VM guest VM1 and let me bring back up invalid parameters. Let me take away that headless. Yeah, it doesn't like that. So we need our double dash there, start VM, guest VM1, the ampersand at the end. And now we'll use that control plus Z and then type BG. So control Z and we'll type BG and hit enter. And so now that's in the background and we have our command prompt back. And this should work on anything. So even if you were to, let's say, start up a Minecraft server, you can use this command to background that process and get control of your command prompt back. And then again, if you needed to list out running VMs, and we can see that one is running, we can go ahead and use our shutdown command here and power off that machine again. So just to double check that this is running, we'll go back to our MSTSC and now let's connect to it. And we're at our login, so we can just go ahead and use our username and our password. Did I do that wrong? Oh. And let's just see what the IP address is. So if config. Now we're on a separate subnet here. So if we wanted to fix that, we can bridge our network rather than use the network address translation. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and modify our VM again. And let me just bring up these commands so you can see them. Right here, let's go ahead and change this. So let's do VBoxManage, modify VM, and we can see a whole list of potential options, and the one we want is going to be the NIC. Here we want to switch this now to bridged. So let's go all the way back down and we'll type out this VBoxManage modify VM guest VM1 and change our network interface card number 1 to bridged. So since it's already running, what we need to do is actually shut it down, and the best way to do that is from within the actual connection itself. We'll do it gracefully. So that'll shut itself down, and this should terminate the session, which is fine. So we can minimize that, and now we're free to actually close the virtual machine. And again, to do that, we would use this command here. Control VM guest VM1 power off. Let's try the ACPI power button, and I'm not really sure what kind of an error I'm getting right now. Okay, there's nothing running, so that's why I'm actually getting the error. So that's fine. Now we want to go ahead and run this other command again. So VBoxManage modify our virtual machine named guest VM1, the --NIC1, and we want to switch it to bridged. So we go ahead and run that, and now we can go ahead and just start up the virtual machine once again. So we do VBox Headless -- start VM guest VM1 ampersand. We hit enter. And that actually failed as well. So what's going on? Let's go ahead and power it back off. And let's scroll up again just to double check what's going on here. We have NIC. It may have something actually to do with the cable connected as well. Let's go ahead and switch it back to NAT for now. We'll start it back up. Control Z, and then type the letters BG for background and hit enter. And now let's go ahead and just start up our Telnet services again. Okay, and VM. I'm still getting that same IP address, and I'll look into fixing that, or you can just Google this as well, because I don't want to take up too much more time with this tutorial, but I did want to show you at least how you can start to shut down and restart the machine. And again, you can consult with this official VirtualBox documentation to find out the answer to this little problem that I'm having, which is pretty much where I'm going to start looking as well. And so that concludes the rest of this tutorial, and in the next video I'm going to set up another way we can handle virtual machines, which is using the VMware ESXi and vSphere suite. So check out that video, and thanks for watching.